PvP, so I would have at least expected that to go to the ace match.
Yeah, I think it was inputted on the ESL bracket incorrectly by accident, but we'll clear that up. We'll clear that up once we get ready.
We'll get confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Regardless, still gonna be a PvZ anyway, so strap yourselves in as we could get into our semifinals here on Oceanborn. Oceanborn, of course, a title bestowed to Daenerys, I think? No, that's Stormborn. Oceanborn is a title bestowed to those born in the sea. SpongeBob, I guess. Yeah, SpongeBob. He's Oceanborn, technically. Ellie, of course, standing for Lemony Essence. Lemony Essence. That was, my mind was going there. So yeah, that was where my mind was going. But I remember, no, Snicket is
a series of unfortunate events. Is that what's happening right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's just a story of my life.
True.
It's my biography. Anyway, yeah, Lemony Essence, which is the essence of lemon, the Taiwanese player. Anyway. On Oceanborn, bottom right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, we of course have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He's going to be representing Team Vitality, the only Vital player coming up, popping out tonight in today's bracket. He is the brightest of the pro gamers. We have the Serral Slayer, Solar.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Italian Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. Reynor historically has been struggling in these ESL Open Cup Asias in his time in Korea, but today he has been on fire. He took down Classic, he took down Cure. This has not been an easy run for Reynor. Likewise, his next opponent is not an easy one either, but Reynor, he's got momentum on his side.
Indeed, he does. Solar has been known in the past couple of years for having some of the absolute best ZvZ in the world, and he's known for being one of the best Zerg players in general, and especially in, I want to say 2023, he has leveled up a lot, but specifically his ZvZ has been looking terrifying.
Oh yeah,
was the first player to was the first player in a very, 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 very long time to be able to sweep Serral in a best-of-5 series, and then continued on after that, just in general taking it to a lot of other Zerg players who on paper would be about even, or even favored against him. Players like Dark, players like Reynor himself, players like, I guess Dark and Reynor are the main ones.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Solar, he had his era, right? He had a period in time where he was the best in ZvZ. Since then, the meta has evolved a little bit, has shifted, players have improved, players have taken note of Solar's style, and, now it's a little bit more ambiguous as of that. But again, Solar definitely has it in him to take it to any Zerg player out there in the world, including Serral. But for now, we're getting into a standard opener. It's going to be a hatch gas pull into a third base, into Baneling Nest and a Roach Warren from both sides. No one is rushing to early Ling Bane aggression, and no one is rushing into a hidden Roach Warren into like +1 carapace into an all-in. Everything so far is looking pretty viable.
I remember that game.
Yeah.
I remember the game from Rogue, also on Oceanborn. Or was it Oceanborn or was it Side Delta? Anyway, yeah, we saw a lot of Roach pushes on Oceanborn over that weekend, last weekend.
Yeah, Rogue was hyper aggressive there and pulled off some crazy upsets, defeating Solar actually at DreamHack multiple times.
Knocking him out of the knockout stage.
Yeah, knocking him out of the early rounds, which is crazy. We don't have to dwell on it too much, but Solar was at DreamHack Dallas, but unfortunately did not make it into kind of the later stages of the tournament, which is a bit of a shame just because of how good Solar is.
Yeah. Definitely feels like we weren't really able to see Solar's full potential there, but that's why our eyes are on him now. Reynor being a bit more aggressive with that early Ling Bane push, but Reynor, or Solar, my tongue. Why did the names so it gotta be so similar? Anyway, Reynor will be deflected as Solar is able to split. And that's another tongue twister. Solar who could be able to split his lings.
I mean, I don't blame you for that bit of a tongue twister, just because that was a several defense, by the way. Like Solar, he handled that situation so well. His roaches got surrounded, the Banelings was zoning the lings away as well. Like things were looking a little bit tired there, but Solar, he handled it like a champ. He just completely shut it down, did defend. We do see the fake out. Reynor was ready for an all-in. He threw down Spine Coolers, does force the cancel as Solar has been droning, and Solar does take a slight worker lead.
Like so. Reynor obviously, as you pointed out, did catch on, however. Will be able to get back into his groove, but will be a little bit behind.
Yeah, only slightly here, as Solar looking to kick things off with Overlord speed. You can see Pneumatized Carapace about to finish up. Jumper Lords are on the way. We're going to be going for Jumper Lord harass here across the map with some Banelings, with some Roaches. Solar looking to take the fight now to Reynor.
Yep. Not sure why I expected any different from Solar here on Oceanborn. Just feels like it has been prophesized, right? Every single time we cast Solar on Oceanborn, whether it's ZvZ or ZvP, he really does like go in for his Drop a Lord pushes.
Speaking of, though, Drop Lord's also on the way for Reynor. Only the one for Reynor, and Solar has mixed it up. We do have a Drop Lord with Banelings on the left-hand side, and a Drop Lord with Roaches on the right. So we have two drops moving out. Meanwhile, this scout from Solar does confirm the Drop Lord of Reynor, so Solar is aware. Reynor a little bit more in the dark as to the movement here of Solar's army.
And now, how are we gonna adapt this for Solar? This little Soul Metro, shall we call it?
Yeah, we'll see how he does adapt, as the Roaches are being knocking down the rocks on the right hand side. Going to be distracting Reynor. Meanwhile, the drops have been scattered. So far, Reynor is keeping up. Very nice reaction so far. The Queens do get eyes on the Dropper Lords.
Yeah, and he is forcing Solar back a little bit, especially with that little drop earlier on. Nice little snipe here on that Baneling.
Yeah, but Roaches, they do slip into the natural waste. At the same time, Roaches into the main, but Reynor is in position. Reynor does defend. At the same time, Solar does lose a queen, but no major worker losses. Up, he's going in.
Yeah, gonna be able to clean that up. He is trying to go in. He's not gonna unload. Unload Banelings. There we go.
Yeah, they're the Banelings. They do waddle in towards that main base, and they do manage to get a couple of workers. Oh, only two drones go down. That could have been so much worse.
That was really good body blocking from Reynor. It kind of forces that little premature explosion on the Banelings. Meanwhile, over in the middle of the map, we do have a few skirmishes. Drop Lords no longer in play, but we still have a lot of Roaches. And we still have two aggressive Zerg players who want to make use of them.
Exactly, as Solar did have a bit of a slightly better concave on the low ground. They're able to pick away at those Roaches. Meanwhile, that Drop Lord is still active. Only two Roaches on the right-hand side, but they do manage to deny at least a Spore Crawler. Again, just applying a bit of pressure here, and it looks like we do get a kill on the Spore Crawler, but at the cost of both Roaches.
Yeah, not too bad. A little bit of a wash. Meanwhile, we do see that I was going to say Reynor is going to be the first player to tech up because I see that infestation pit, but actually Solar is now working on his hive, so
yeah, the hive.
Solar actually much quicker.
Yeah, Solar. Hive is on the way. Hydrogen's on the way as well. We're getting ready for Lurker Tech. We're not there yet, but we are working towards it as the Roach v Roach is at a standstill. We do see Solar trying to force his way up the ramp, but he's pushing into a concave.
He knows he can't quite break this. He doesn't need to break it, though, to buy himself enough time.
As again, Solar not
get to the next stage.
Yeah, not trading too badly. You can see Hydra production has commenced with Solar. Lurker Den is on the way. Soon to be Lurker upgrades as well. Solar just has to be very careful not to take a bad fight. If he takes a bad fight, then suddenly it triggers a counterattack, and then Solar gets caught with his pants down, and Solar's Lurkers are not ready yet.
No, they're not. They're not even in production yet, as the Lurker Den still about to finish up here.
Still on the way. Again, you can see Solar staying on a low Ravager count here to bank up that gas. Ooh, does take some vials to the face here. Does beat out a couple of those Roaches, and that's what we have to be careful of. Ooh.
Yeah, like so. We were talking about triggering the counterattack, and That counterattack has been triggered. Reynor sees a bit of an opening, and he wants to utilize this momentum. It's unlikely that he's going to be able to break Solar here, but at the very least, he should be able to contain him. If he finds an opening, he might be able to deal a lot of damage as well.
I mean, he sees the Hydras, right? Like, that's a big tell. He knows that, okay, lurkers are on the way. He can see an opening. He wants to try to break through. For now, he is unable to. At the same time, Burrowed, Tunneling Claw, Roaches getting across the map, slipping into the main base. Solar being very active with his army, does force Reynor back and will unburrow.
Like so, will unburrow. It's only 3 Roaches, but 3 Roaches still going am here. Yeah. Taking out 6 drones. This is, I mean, just look at that worker difference.
Yeah, Solo with a massive worker lead does take some bounce to the face. Oh my god, a lot of bounce do connect, but the lurker gen is done. Lurker upgrades are on the way, and we have our first lurkers in production for Solar.
Indeed, we do. Solar already had these Hydras waiting. Just needed to clean up some supply to turn them into lurkers.
Yeah, the lurkers have arrived. You can see that Reynor's being forced back. Reynor trying to get into his own lurker tech. He isn't there yet. It does have Vipers on the way. The Vipers will help against the lurkers as you can, of course, abduct and yoink them, just yoink them out of the ground. You can focus them down one after the other, but the army does push forward, and ooh, Reynor has to be very careful to be caught out of position. Oh, the surround!
Like so, but they, oh yes! The surround is coming in from every single angle. Solar tries to burrow, but we have detection with these overseers. Solar realizes that, forced to unburrow, forced to back away. He's got a long way home, though. A long way to get home.
Yeah, Solar, he gets caught with his pants down there. How many lurkers was that? That was 4 lurkers going down. Doesn't sound like a lot, but we only had 5 to begin with, so we're down to a single lurker left. Again, Solar just being a little bit too aggressive there, gets punished for it.
And just like that, everything's swinging towards Reynor's favor. He's got the momentum in this game. Worker counts are about even. He has been able to bounce back, or at least deal enough damage to Solar to be able to force himself back.
As we can see, Solar trying to deny this center base. Again, he knows that the pressure is on him. Bile's not quite going to be connecting. Vipers coming in from the right-hand side, ready for a blinding cloud if we ever do need it. So far, Reynor's holding on. Likewise, the second army moving up, but we have lurkers in position.
And already 1 volley going to be shaving off a decent number of Roaches here. Solar trying to force the aggro.
Up. Yeah, trying to force that aggro, trying to force those spine shots. And so far, better trades for Solar. Army's diving in. Bile's going to be thrown down. No connections here so far as Solar actually rotates over towards the right-hand side instead. And that lurker count, it's getting higher and higher for Solar.
And scarily high, as Reynor is still trying to get Hydras, trying to get to that stage. He has the Viper advantage, but Vipers can only do so much here when your opponent has this many lurkers. And also a handful of Vipers of his own.
Yeah, the yoinks are real. We yoink the Vipers when we focus it down. Blinding Cloud is going to be thrown down, forcing back Solar, but Solar has that talent. Reynor does not, and Solar's getting ready for his own concave.
Yeah, he wants his revenge. He wants to give Reynor a bit of a taste of his own medicine, but he doesn't quite have the supply for it, so instead he has to back off.
And he does pull back more lurkers in production. The adaptive talent's now starting up here for Reynor. That's going to be a big upgrade that's going to allow him to be a little bit more aggressive with those lurkers. Files will be connecting on some of those roaches, and yeah, we just cannot push into these lurker lines. Will not happen. Instead, Reynor distracting Solar, going for a counterattack.
Like so. Is that too many Vipers?
That's not enough.
Yeah, oh, I see.
I mean, look at this. We throw down the Blinding Clouds. We catch every single lurker. We have it. Blinding Clouds, but we have Energy Despair. At the same time, though, Reynor coming in from behind, trying to wedge himself in towards these bases and even catch some of the Hydras.
Trying to, anyway. It's quite, it'll get him. Once again, Solar trying to force an engagement, and we'll get a couple of Biles to the face.
The Biles do connect, but Solar has gained ground. He's pushing on the right-hand side. Now it's going to be Reynor on the defense. And how many lurkers does Reynor have? He has 0 lurkers.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
But you know what? He has more Vipers.
He does.
Than Solar, so...
He does.
He does. I can count.
There you go. We have 6 Vipers versus the 4 of Solar. With that, we can go for counter abductions and counter blinding clouds. We'll see how this goes as Solar is pushing through the center. Catches the Vipers, no! The yoinks!
Oh, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that Reynor had more Vipers if they just get yoinked like that.
Yeah, but at the same time, they blinding cloud the Hydras. The Vipers did barely escape thanks to the blinding clouds, but that forced the energy. That forced the spell to be used, canceling the base here on the right-hand side. Roaches are posing a threat. Solar does back up. Whew, and we do see Reynor taking this opportunity here to actually push towards the left-hand side.
Yeah, gonna walk right into Spine Crawlers, and a Lurker, though, will be able to take him out. Should be able to break this position, but now he's starting to get a little bit too entrenched, and Solar is here to meet him.
Ooh, big abductions here. The Vipers, they shut down the Lurkers. Very big trade here for Reynor. At the same time, though, does lose the base. Base going to be going down. Likewise here, another hatchery going to be falling. Reynor taking down 2 hatcheries for the cost of 1.
Yeah, trading a lot better here. Solar also a little bit slow on the burrow. Hatchery will survive, but will get very badly bruised, and Solar going to be losing a handful of workers. I'm honestly surprised at just how even the worker counts have been for the past 10 minutes or so.
It's very tense. It's still very tense, very close between these 2 players. I still favor Solar just because of his army composition, but Reynor is finally making Lurkers. There we go. 8 Lurkers on the way, and Reynor has been preserving these Vipers. They are low on energy, but they're low on HP, but they do get transfused.
Yeah, low on HP, high on energy. Just the way I like them.
There he goes. We have the counter yoinks coming in. The Solar bleeding out some of these Vipers. We do get the power bomb. But nice splits out of Reynor. At the same time, Reynor trying to push in, but pushes into Lurkers. Ooh, is punished.
And we'll be taking a lot of volleys on that Hydra army. We'll force another cancel. Reynor stuck on 4 bases for a very, very long time on this game. He's about to mine out. Okay, he's got a fresh base over here. But other than that, is about to mine out.
His 4th is still healthy, but as you mentioned, his 3rd base running out of mineral patches here, running out of minerals at the natural as well. The pressure is on Reynor. We do yoink in some of those Vipers. Oh my god.
We do see 2 Vipers yoinking each other for a split second there. Blinding Cloud going to be saving Solar's life.
Yeah, just Viper on Viper violence here. The yoinks on yoinks. Oh, you hate to see it. As we do see Reynor falling behind. You can see here, he's broke. You mentioned it before. Because we lost his space, Reynor, he just cannot remax anywhere near as fast. The Blinding Clouds.
No, he cannot, but he might be able to take a fight. Yeah, huge Blinding Clouds, but huge Blinding Clouds on Reynor's army as well. In the end, both players trade somewhat evenly in that fight, and that will always favor Solar.
Exactly. Solar is remax. Solar has a 5th base. I mentioned before that Reynor was hoping to snipe 2 bases. He only got the 1. He was so close to sniping this base on the right-hand side that would have been the world of difference. But alas, it did survive in the end. And with that, Solar has momentum on his side. He's pushing out once again and going for these yoinks. Oh.
Yeah, going for those yoinks.
Yeah, misclicks gets a Hydra. Does misclick there for a moment, but hey, we're pulling back. We're regathering energy as the Vipers are quite low on energy, and this will give Reynor a little bit of breathing room here as Solar resettles.
Yeah, indeed he will, as Reynor just trying to find some openings. He knows he needs to deal some damage here and there. And he's finding a couple of kinks in Solar's armor, but Solar's just so quick to plug those holes.
Yeah, you can see Solar reinforced on the left-hand side with those Vipers. We have the Lurkers here on the right. Talking about Reynor, Reynor has 0 Vipers. 0 Vipers now to be concerned about. Without Vipers, we can't really threaten the army of Solar. We can just abduct for days as we do get some massive spine shots. Oh my god.
A couple of massive spine shots. Blinding Cloud's going to save this army's life, but not before a lot of Lurkers take damage and a lot of Hydras go down. Ooh!
Yeah, I was waiting for some
Not
parables.
where you want to.
Yeah, I was waiting for some parables. The last day did not occur. We do yoink in. Vipers going down here for Solar. He has to be very careful as Reynor does have the high ground. Reynor, he is slowly catching up in terms of the supply. He can still outposition Solar, and Solar, he's diving in.
Yeah, Parabomb's going to be completely neutralizing these Lurkers, and they will all go down. These are, I believe, the last Lurkers that Reynor has, as he's just spent his entire mineral bank on roaches.
Yeah, he has spent his bank here. We have roaches on the way, but it looks like this final army is going to be cleaned up. Solar does hold on. And the problem here, the supplies are similar to each other, but as you mentioned, Reynor has mainly roaches. He did retain all 4 of those vipers. They are regathering energy as we speak. But, oh, and we do snipe the base.
Oh, it's going to be the beginning. Beginning of a comeback, potentially. Unfortunately, Solar... Oh, I was going to say, unfortunately, Solar has the 6th base, but Reynor does scout it, and his army is not in position to defend it from Solar.
Yeah, damage is going to be done. We could end up sniping this hatchery, at least getting it low. Meanwhile, Reynor long distance mining, desperately trying to get this base up and running towards the left-hand side as well, as the hatchery is...
The base?
Oh, it's so close! Up! He's going for it!
Come on, just 2 more volleys!
Ah!
1 more volley!
Oh my God.
We'll get it!
Ah.
With that final roach of its dying breath.
Oh my God. And with that Solar, he gets knocked down to 4 bases, the same base count as Reynor. Vipers are coming in, and depending on the Viper control, we could make a fight out of this.
Oh. So many parabombs, The splits are much better here for Reynor. Solar!
Yes,
you gotta be careful, buddy!
Yeah, Solar bleeding out one of those Vipers. The others are getting very low, but Solar, that's a kill. That's a kill on the hatchery. He denies the 5th base. GG gets called. That's all that matters, and Solar takes game number 1.
GG. That was a 21-minute ZvZ. We don't see ZvZs go on for that long. That was, I think, one of the slower pace ZvZs that I've ever casted, but still tense nonetheless. I mean, because it was slower, I think it was even more tense.
It was a slower start, right? The start was a little bit more slower to really get things going, but once our players got up to 4 bases, like, it was just non-stop aggression, non-stop maneuvering of roaches and hydras and lurkers and vipers, the ebb and flow of the armies, and it was just a very tense game overall. It did come down to Reynor starving out there. Reynor desperately needed a 5th base, and Solar was there to shut it down time and time again, and Reynor was barely not able to do the same. By the time he killed the 5th base of Solar, it was a little bit too late, and Solar was able to just out-trade Reynor, or even at times not even out-trade him, but just have the better economy to sustain some even worse trades.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh boy. Whew. Could have said it better myself. That was... I'm still gotta catch my breath a little bit here. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. But yeah, Solar, he was in control for the most part, as you pointed out, after he got his lurkers out faster, after he was able to secure his economy quicker. But I really truly believed in Reynor a lot of times in that game. I really believed in the control. He had much better Viper control for the most part.
Yeah.
But wasn't better enough. Wasn't able to trade better enough to make up for the fact that Solar just had a massive economy.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, we're going to be continuing our series now on Site Delta. Site Delta, which sounds like a GeoSeeker forum from 2006, or the name of GeoSeeker forum, potentially, or maybe not. If it's a very mid 2000s sounding name, with the Delta coming in there and the Site, coming in there. So what I'm trying to get at. Seal come out with something for this map. Anyway, LE of course standing for long expansion. That describes Reynor in that previous game.
Excuse
me. Very long to extend. Anyway, here we are in the bottom right hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom right. We have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He of course is going to be representing his team, Team Vitality, also repping a Serral portrait, except I believe he's using a 2022 champion Serral. We have Solar.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Italian Zerg player, the Blue Zerg representing Team Basilisk. Down in this series, looking to bounce back and force the ace match, it is Reynor. Okay, when you say Site Delta, I think either like like an archaeological site, you know, like you're like mining fossils and you're like uncovering like a dino raptor of some kind, like a dino chicken.
The Delta Raptor.
Exactly.
Or
Or
the Delta Raptor. I guess the Dino Raptor.
Exactly.
The Delta Raptor is what I meant.
You got it. Or maybe like maybe Side Delta could be like maybe a crime scene sort of thing, you know, or like
yeah, that's what I was thinking, like the site of an explosion.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
It's being investigated. Coming down, and then we find out that it's
oh my God.
an insurance thing.
Yeah, Solo with a slightly better micro, trading out, getting one Ling and escaping with both. Reinforcements have arrived. Not the biggest of deals here, but it is a nice little win for Solar, able to preserve both Lings and get the kill. Behind this, it was a hatch gas pull into our third bases. No one is playing two base. We didn't get to talk about it, but Side Delta is a little bit more common for two base play, but that is not the case here, not between Reynor and Solar.
Not yet, anyway. As once again, I feel like that DreamHack, that Dallas weekend, just kind of inputted. I don't want to say PTSD into my mind, but Pavlovian gave me like Pavlovian conditioning to whenever I see Zerg on Site Delta, whenever I see Solar specifically on Site Delta on Oceanborn, roaches.
Yeah, PTSD.
Roaches and Dropalords.
I get behind you on that one. I mean, it is a little bit more common, definitely, but we can see that this game we're playing a little bit more by the book. Once again, into a third base, into a Roach War. No one is rushing to a fast upgrade. No one is rushing to fast hidden roaches or a fast lair timing. So far, it's looking quite similar to game number 1.
Yeah, we'll see who is the first player to pull the trigger.
We shall see. As Solar is amassing roaches, we have 6 roaches in production. Solar is cutting workers for the time being, and this looks like the beginnings of a committed push. Looks like the beginnings of it all in. Link Scout does come in though, and can Reynor get eyes on the roach production? Up.
Does scout the roaches, does scout the gases, or lack thereof. And Reynor should have enough to start piecing things together, getting a bunch of roaches of his own. Working on Banelings as well to see if he can snipe the Lings. Last thing you want in this position is to have your own roaches surrounded, unable to kite back and taken out by your opponent.
Yes, and I believe because we got scattered, we don't commit. Solar, he pulls back and he's been droning. Solar's been droning. He shows the army to the Overlords, makes it look like he's going all in, and he did force a big reaction out of Reynor, forced Reynor to make a mass amount of roaches and Lings, and now the turns have tabled. Now Solar has the higher worker count, now Reynor has an army, and now Reynor most likely wants to make use of this army. And Solar needs to make sure that he doesn't, you know, like play a game of chicken here and be like, nah, you're bluffing, and then die. Because Reynor, he's not droning. He stopped a while ago.
That he has. Now, you know what? Maybe your Solar scouts this. Reynor will turn around. And then we'll see a turns table once again. But yeah, for the most part, for now, it does look like Reynor is going to commit to this, and Solar will catch eyes on the move out.
Yes.
We'll be throwing down a spine crawler. We'll be getting roaches, but is it too late?
Yes, Solar's in a
army supply.
Yeah, Solar, he's in trouble right now. He's in a lot of trouble. He did over drone. He took extra gas. The spine crawler's on the way. The spine will help, but is it going to be enough? As Solar, he has defensive advantage. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Solar. Reynor is going for the kill.
He's jumping right on in. Aliens will get deflected for now. Spine crawler gonna get up and running.
Yeah, Bailey's
going to provide a lot of help.
Yeah, they connect with the Lings. Meanwhile, the spine crawler standing strong. We're diving on top of these roaches, but you can see that Solar is running out of roaches. He's running out of supply. Is being forced back, and it looks like Reynor has done it with these reinforcements. We get a surround on these roaches again. As Solar, he over drone. GG gets called, and Reynor ties up the series 1-1.
I was not prepared for this quick of a game after game 1 on Oceanborn. After this fast pace of a roach rush, or not really rush, but you know, roach push timing. coming out from both of our players. I'm getting whiplash.
GG, exactly. I mean, Solar kind of created this beast. Again, Solar, he faked his push, which means he forced a reaction out of Reynor, and Reynor committed to that reaction and stopped making workers. He cut workers at 45, committed to Roach Ling, and it was Solar who did overdrone there. He droned up to 52, was taking gases, was not prepared for the all-in of Reynor.
That he was not. And so with that, we're tied up 1-1 in our best of 3 semifinals.
Yeah, we are tied up. One final game here to determine who makes it on into the grand finals, who makes it on to face off against Hero, as Hero has been patiently waiting in those finals. I wonder, have they updated the bracket? I wonder.
They have.
Okay.
They have. Hero is displayed as the finalist, taking out Nightmare 2-0, which again is a bit of a surprise. But we'll see. But we also didn't get our eyes on the games themselves, so I have to imagine they were closer.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. I imagine they were some very close games there, despite the score line does happen. I mean, it happened earlier today with Reynor versus Classic and Reynor versus Cure, where the games themselves were bangers. There were some beautiful games there, beautiful back and forth despite the 2-0s. And now we're diving into the ace match. It all ends on Akiane.
Here we go. Best map to end things on.
It all does end here, and this could go either way, to be honest. It could go either way. Who gains the luxury of facing off against Hero?
Is that a luxury? Anyway, can debate that all we want later down the line, because for now, we're going to be loading into Alkione, where a map in which, depending on your perspective, looks either like a frog or a manta ray. Over here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom left, we have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. Oh, I forgot LE. Yes, LE, of course, standing for language extinct. Language extinct. That's
Latin.
English. Latin. Anyway,
English?
here we are.
Singlish?
The bottom. Yeah, exactly. In the bottom left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom left, we have our red Zerg player, coming out from the land of Korea, going to be representing his team, Team Vitality. And the brightest of the pro gamers, we have Solar.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Italian Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Basilisk, tying up the series 1-1, forcing the ace match. It is Reynor. Here we go. And it does look like a frog.
Yeah.
More than a manta ray.
It does look like a frog, but if you look the other direction, the other diagonal, a bit like a ray. A fat ray.
Yeah.
A very fat manta ray.
Like a
but
thick, like
a very short tail.
Capital C's, you know?
Yeah.
Thick ray.
Thick ray. That sounds like a nickname.
It does. But we are settling in, and again, as you mentioned before, we had a bit of a longer back and forth tense game one with, I mean, there was so many layers to that game and so much came into it on Oceanborn. Game two was a little more high octane. It was a little more sudden as well. It was just very intense. Just in and outs. Reynor, he was able to take it in the end. And what do we get here in game three?
So game number one was it was like a game where they were trying to outmaneuver each other. You know, they were constantly thinking one step ahead or trying to think one step ahead of each other. A lot of back and forth, a lot of dodging, a lot of rolling, a lot of blocking. Game number two, no, it was who punches first. Wins.
It's like game number,
punch first.
Yeah, game number one was like a high intellect, you know, like 4D scenario of like, you know, just strategy play between both players.
Yeah.
And game number two was they just aped it up. The brain turned off, and you know, Jesus took the wheel, and then they just sent it, papi. You know, with that, Reynor was able to come out on top. We do see Solar rushing into the gold as his third, though. At the same time, Reynor rushing to a very fast lair.
This can only end one way.
Okay, so two base play out of Reynor. Reynor, he skips the Bailey Nest. He's working towards a fast lair. Meanwhile, I see +1 carapace. Solar is going to be main darting over towards the go base. This looks like Solar is setting up for his own Ling Ravager all-in. And how will that compare against this as Solar, he gets into the main? Up!
Will get a full scout. Will scout the gas count. Will scout the lair. So he is well aware of what's coming his way.
I see what you did there. Well.
It's fair.
The hair.
Enough for the hair.
Yeah.
With the dare.
You're sitting in a chair.
Without wearing any... Never mind. Anyway, as we...
Wearing any what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What are you going to say?
You can figure it out. Anyway. Roaches are on the way. Reynor, once again, taking the role of the defender. 2 spine crawlers getting thrown down.
Yeah, we actually canceled Carapace. Carapace was cancelled, +1 range we got instead for Solar, so he's getting ready for a more Roach-heavy composition. Not for the Ling Roach all-in that I assumed. And Reynor back at home throwing down a wall of spine crawlers, assuming aggression, but Solar's droning.
He's droning hard, and he is mining from that gold.
Yeah, so Reynor getting ready for an assault that isn't actually going to be hitting. Third base is on the way. Reynor is working towards Roach speed and a Roach heavy style. Spine coolers are done, but again, this was a bit of a waste of resources for the time being. I say for the time being, it looks like Solar is building up though. Is now building up.
Yeah, just a little bit more of a delayed push coming down. Reynor, of course, did scout the gold, is well aware that Solar is well on his way to outscale him when it comes to the economy, so he needs to do something about that.
He does. As Solar, he's still just saturating his bases. He did make an amount of roaches to be safe, but he's saturating his natural, taking every single gas geyser, saturating his gold, working towards a 4th base, I imagine, as well. Like, Solar is just taking a more macro approach for the time being, looking to outscale Reynor in a longer game. And yeah, Reynor has to play a little bit of catch-up here, just because he did spend resources on those spine crawlers and did delay his own economy.
Like so. And that's one way of doing it. Throwing down the contamination on an Evo chamber will allow Reynor to get into +2 range a little bit quicker. Will lose an Overseer in the process, though.
What if Contaminate was like Chrono Boost for Zerg? But you could also do it on, like, your opposing Zerg player. I'm trying to think, like, is the Zerg player really annoyed if their Zerg buildings get contaminated, if they get Zerged on, you know? Like, is that a negative thing?
Does it annoy you?
Does it?
Does it? So does Zerg player, yeah.
Like, I'm talking about, like, lore-wise, I mean, right? Like...
Oh. Well, I imagine it's like... What's a science thing that I can use? Analogy that I can use. It's like, you know, contaminate, it's kind of like congestion in your lungs.
Excuse me.
What I imagine.
Okay. Sure, I get you.
Potentially.
It's like the opposing Zerg Cerebrit, like, kind of fighting for control of a building. You know, you're having, like, a mental, like, chess battle in the Evo chamber.
Yeah. I have to wait for the Zerg immune system to beat it away.
It's like Inception. It's like they're inside your dream, and you have to roll the dice. Or spin the top.
Exactly.
To wake up.
I can't wake up.
There you go. Solar's maxed.
As Solar pushes out, yes, Solar's maxed out. He's pushing, and Reynor is looking to meet him in the middle of the map where he can get a bit of a better concave. Reynor himself working on getting that gold base.
Yeah, we do see Solar with the high army supply. +2 is not quite done, so Reynor does have the upgrade advantage, but +2 is finishing up in 3 seconds. And with that with that Solar, can he break through? This is going to be a little bit lower when it comes to the Ravager count. Without those Ravagers having a harder time pushing in, but he is gaining ground slowly. Oh,
but surely. And just around a couple of biles will force a little bit of a dance. It's both going a little bit back and forth. I was going to say part of the reason why Solar has a lower Ravage count is because he split up his forces, did try to go for a little bit of a multi-prong, but Reynor himself had forces to meet that.
yeah,
And the spine crawls as well.
Yeah, he was in position. Biles, ooh, not quite going to be grazing the army a little bit. Rock's going to be knocked down. Solar just opening up different attack paths. He does find himself on top of the rope, does get the high ground. Oh!
Much weirder at the high ground, but will get flanked a little bit. Reynor coming in with a much better concave.
Yeah, Solar does get caught out. That was a nice opportunity for Solar, but wasn't quite able to make use of it. There we go, but tunneling for Roaches towards the left-hand side. Reynor does get eyes on it.
And will try to, as chases back, he does have the Overseer following it, so he does have protection. So the main army clash will once again just trade volleys and then leave.
As we do see ourselves just trying to push in. This time the Biles connecting in favor of Solar, but we're going for the full surround.
And that's a 100% 180 concave. Solar gonna be forced to fight. He has a high army supply, but they're not all in position.
Yeah, exactly.
And the position, regardless, is looking a lot better for Reynor with these concaves.
Yeah, it's just so difficult to push into these Ravagers. We do see Reynor counterattacking, but the Ravagers are exposed.
And they will just get caught by the Roaches of Solar. A couple of Biles connecting friendly fire, actually.
Yeah, you can see Solar cutting off those Ravagers as well. More Ravagers going down. A much more efficient trade here from Solar as Reynor did overextend. And now with the main army being forced back, goal base is being saturated. Reynor recognizing, hold up, you don't have detection. Up!
So the Tongue Claws will, just get behind this army, will get a full surround.
Yeah, with that, a beautiful fight here for Reynor. Solar plummeting in supply. No detection, gets punished for it. And now Solar has to back off. Spine coolers are on the way. Solar now recognizing how much danger he's in.
Yeah, these are some very, very dire straits for our Red Zerg player. Trying to buy himself enough time to get the Spine Crawlers up and running, to get more Roaches out and running. Doesn't have Overseer still.
Well, there we go. Overseers do finally come into play. We can finally try to hold the line at the same time. Solar did try to go for a counterattack with these Tunneling Claw Roaches, which means he doesn't have everything to defend back at home. He does have a bit of a supply deficit.
Yeah, he needs to rely entirely on his defender's advantage, on his positioning, on these Queen Transfuses ideally as well. The Roaches, though, they will be counterattacking.
Yeah, drones are going down at the same time. Solar also losing control of his natural sort of his goal base for a moment there. Burrow coming into play as the drones are going to be borrowed. They're going to be saved.
Oh, yeah, no detection here. This is why Zerg should have scanned.
True. As we do have to try to get the hell out of here. We do try to squeeze on out, but Reynor going to chase this back home. But he's being dragged out of position. Is being dragged out. Solar going right through the center.
He's going straight for the throat, trying to get the better concave here. Bile's going to be landing, connecting on a couple of Roaches.
Yeah, they do connect, and we deny any kind of mining here at the goal base. Mining is denied for the time being. The run by is going to be shut down, but Reynor, he's going to be able to keep up with his army supply, and Solar does pull back for now. Oh, push it back in.
And push back out. Pushing back in.
We do see Reynor committing to that counterattack as well, headed for that goal base. It looks like Solar, he has plenty to defend, plenty of reinforcements. He has a high ground as well. Solar should be able to barely hold the line.
Bile's just not connecting. Keep looking at these supplies, and they're in favor of Solar, but for the most part, Reynor has been able to trade pretty efficiently and make the most of his positioning. Now, though, actually still very good trade for Reynor.
Yeah, some of these bots have been brutal, but Reynor is holding his own at the same time. Ooh, no counterattack as the Tunneling Claw Roaches are getting caught out. Solar is keeping up with the aggression. Buzz connecting in favor of Reynor this time, but does beat out some of these Roaches. Again, slightly better trade for Solar as Solar takes a greater supply lead. These Tunneling Claw Roaches posing a big threat here, but it looks like Solar has found out. Oh, has found it.
That he has. Oh, not all of them.
Some of them,
yeah, Roach is getting caught.
yeah, some of those bird roaches behind the middle line. Now they do get caught out at the same time. Solo pushing right through the middle. Once again, able to outtrade Reynor for a moment there. And Reynor needs a little bit more breathing room.
He does. +3 missile attacks. Did just finish up for Reynor, though. That's an advantage.
Yeah, that's actually a big moment, but here we go. Solar trying to step forward, is being forced back. Solar does not have a hive. Reynor with that take advantage, going for +3, could be a big moment for him at the same time. Solar trying to overwhelm.
Trying to... coming in for the flank, coming in for the full surround. Upgrade, having an upgrade advantage is nice in Roach v Roach, but it's not as impactful as having a better... as positioning as Solar now demonstrates. Reynor plummeting in supply with that full 360 surround, and it looks like Solar has just about done it.
Yeah, Solar, he has pulled this off just barely. +3 was good, but not good enough, as he has so much more momentum on his side. We do see some drones going down on the right-hand side. Main army is going to be plummeting. No more Ravagers left over here for Reynor. Only Pure Roach, and Pure Roach is not good enough.
That it truly isn't. Gold base going to be going down. A couple of Roaches caught as they pop out of the cocoons.
They are caught out. We do see some harassment going on across the map, and Reynor is getting some damage done. Does morph in some Ravagers to defend as well, but the supply does not lie. Not in Roach v Roach. I mean, sure, the supply is inflated, but that's the case for both players, as the goal base is full, and now we're going for the fourth.
Like so. Battle's almost landing on the Overseers, and might have been able to get something done with that, but it is not enough. GG is called. Solar going to be taking game number 3, as well. That's that series 2-1. Whew, GG, very well played. Probably the closest series that we've had tonight. I mean, in terms of series score, in terms of map score, yeah, absolutely the closest one that we've had tonight. But even the games themselves, with the exception of Site Delta,
True.
we're also on a knife's edge with both players. GG, very nicely done.
GG, well played. A very tense back and forth there between Solar and Reynor. Solar had an earlier lead with the gold base. Reynor was able to make up for that and have better trades, go for these counterattacks, go for these Tunneling Claw run-bys, but it was very close. There were some very key moments for Reynor where he was able to surround Solar's army. Likewise, the opposite is also true, and in the end, Solar did outscale Reynor. There was some very nice moments where Solar was able to take or extend his economic lead, get across the map, distract Reynor, and take better fights, whether it was with the Biles or with the Concaves. Solar did edge it out and is our finalist.
Indeed, he is. Indeed, he is. Power goes out to Reynor. You know, he has been struggling a little bit in ESL Open Cup Asia, and tonight he looked absolutely in form. This is one of his deeper runs in ESL Open Cup Asia, but it did get cut short right at the very end in a very, very close series against Reynor here, against Solar here. But nonetheless, still very impressive results coming out from him.
Yeah, it just goes to show how difficult ESL Asia is. Like, I would say ESL Open Cup Asia is the most difficult ESL Open Cup out of the 3 regions. I do know that America does kind of blend some of the regions a little bit, and we do see, like, you know, some of the Koreans and the Europeans facing off, and that's what's fun about the Americas. But if you look at the Asia bracket, I mean, Reynor, he took down some beasts.
More condensed.
Yeah, he took down some players that very well could have won the entire tournament. He took down Classic, took down Cure, went to the ace match against Solo. Like, every single round from the beginning of the broadcast is a finals match for Reynor. And again, he had a deep run. He took down some big names, but it's still a difficult tournament, and still so brutal as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. But smaller bracket, but a much more condensed one, which is well, it is that much more brutal when you do get knocked out like this.
Yeah.
Go on. Yeah. I was going to say, just like that you brought up ESL Open Cup Americas, where it's like, yeah, that's where you get the top D-gens from Korea or from Asia, or sometimes some of them who aren't D-gens at all and just wake up super early. You get the D-gens from EU, and then you get NA, who just by default are degens, but in this case, not because of the sleep schedule.
It's beautiful, you know. ESL Open Cup Americas is it has a place in my heart in a very different way. But regardless, GG, well played. Congratulations to Solar as he does advance on into those finals, and it is going to be a ZVP finals between Solar and Hero in the best of 5.